The radical efforts of Reconstruction opened a window for racial equality in the United States. But the Ku Klux Klan did everything they could to close that window. Reconstruction initially appeared as a pivotal point for the future of Black Americans. As Reconstruction was taking place, Black Americans slowly began gaining access to the rights of United States citizens. The Equal Justice Initiative states that by 1868, over 80% of Black men who were eligible to vote had registered. Schools for Black children became a priority, and courageous Black leaders overcame enormous obstacles to win elections to public office. These improvements were incredible, and it seemed that progression like this would continue until equality existed throughout the entirety of the United States. However, this hope was short-lived as the KKK emerged into power in the late 1860s. The Ku Klux Klan was founded in 1865 in Tennessee and led by former Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrest. The Klan was founded because of the Democratic Party's failure to suppress the newly gained civil and political rights by Southern Blacks after the Civil War. The Klan's goals were to defeat the Republican Party and maintain white superiority in the United States. In February and March of 1868, Nathan Bedford Forrest frequently met with prominent conservative leaders in Georgia, serving as a very important role in the spread of the Klan, and by summer of 1868, the Klan was widespread across Georgia. Once the KKK had established a structure in Georgia, they consistently participated in acts of violence against Black voters and white supporters of the Republican Party. Their strategy was to intimidate people and minimize voters for the Republican Party. The actions of the Ku Klux Klan weren't just unlawful tactics for intimidation, but rather acts of domestic terrorism that physically and mentally harmed United States citizens. An example of this terrorism is the KKK's murder of radical Republican politician George W. Ashburn. Ashburn was a prominent activist for Black rights, especially for Black enfranchisement, and his voice was well known throughout the state of Georgia. On March 31st of 1868, Ashburn was assassinated in his own home by members of the Ku Klux Klan. In an article about the case by Elizabeth Otto Daniel, it is stated that his death created much reaction locally and nationally. This murder was designed to be heard about. The Klan made no effort to make their attacks discreet. In her telling of the Ashburn murder case, Daniel also states that the conservative hope of winning the election hinged on either convincing those who were not radicals to vote or convincing those who were radicals not to vote. Because of how polarized the nation was at the time, conservative voices were not powerful enough to convince radical Republicans not to vote. Because of this, conservatives resorted to violence through the KKK to intimidate people not to vote. Overall, the KKK served as a powerful driving force for undoing the process of Reconstruction. Through constant acts of violence, intimidation, and terror, the Klan silenced countless Republican voices, like George W. Ashburn, along with many others, and helped restore power in the Democratic Party. Their violent efforts terrorized Republicans throughout the South, weakening Reconstruction efforts, ultimately serving as a key contributor to the end of Reconstruction. Fortunately, in the early 1870s, federal efforts began suppressing the first wave of the Klan. However, white supremacy did not end with the conclusion of the Klan and Reconstruction. White supremacy still prevailed. Supremacist groups like the White League and the Red Shirts were established and promoted similar ideologies that existed with the Klan. Although the original Klan faded, its legacy lived on, deepening division across the nation and shaping Southern Democratic power long after Reconstruction collapsed. In short, the Klan helped secure Democratic dominance in the South through a campaign of terror that scarred the nation and left divisions that endured long after Reconstruction.